Hello and welcome to Traditional Painting the Digital Way. This is where I use digital painting apps to teach traditional painting techniques. In this video, I'm going to be doing a scratchboard type of art, and I wanted to show how you can do this in Infinite Painter. Typically, if you're doing traditional scratchboard, it usually consists of a paint, a multicolored paint underneath a black covering, and then you scratch off the top of the black paint. And usually, well, when I was in school, we just did crayons underneath, sort of a wax resist, and then did poster paint on the top. But you can buy these scratch boards, and they're a little bit more sophisticated, and they have better paint than just poster paint and crayons. And anyway, I just wanted to show you how to do this in Infinite Painter. So what I do in Infinite Painter is I start out with the first layer, and I'm wanting to choose some orangey reddish colors, because we're going to go ahead and do kind of a desert scene. I just thought that would be kind of neat. Now, I'm not a big scratchboard artist. I've only kind of dabbled in it, but it's sort of fun to play around with, and I just thought that it would be kind of fun to show you how to do it in Infinite Painter. So I'm adding a whole bunch of orangey colors. There's some yellows in here, some reds. You can add yellow ochre. If you're following along traditionally, you can paint a paper with the acrylic type paints on the bottom, and or colored pencil. Colored pencil might work better. And then go ahead and put kind of a tempera paint on the top. But there's a whole bunch of them that you can just buy on brands, and I would suggest doing that. They have all kinds of different things that you can do with clay board too as well. And they actually have clay board that you can scratch the black off, and you can add colored inks to it, or they may have it already colored underneath. So anyway, here I'm doing a picture of Monument Valley from Arizona, and I'm just kind of scratching out the hills, I guess you would call them, the formations. They're not hills, they're old volcanic formations is what they are. But I'm taking the eraser in Infinite Painter and making it very thin, and using sort of a pen, one of the pen settings in Infinite Painter. And what I've done is I've covered another layer with black, and I made two separate layers, one with color and one with black. And then you go onto the black layer and you start erasing out your picture there, and this just gives this kind of a scratchboard effect. And because I put multiple colors underneath the black layer, you get a really neat ombre type of effect, depending on what colors you use. And anyway, I just went ahead and scratched out the formations, and I'm adding a little bit of some suggestions of rocks and things, or the landscape that you can see around the formations. And I just wanted to get kind of a neat effect that way. And then I'm adding a few clouds in the sky, and this is kind of like pen and ink. This is a sort of a pen and ink technique, except that you're scratching off the black and you're just letting all the color underneath show through. And so I went ahead and just finished this one out. These aren't going to be very detailed or complicated pictures, but I just kind of wanted to give you an idea of what you could do, and how you could play around and Infinite Painter and just get this really neat effect. And so I wanted to go ahead and do another picture, and you can do a whole bunch of pictures really quickly with this technique. And here I wanted to kind of have a little bit of some texture, so I'm picking the texture that's kind of like a clay board, because that's kind of one of the main mediums that people are using for this technique. And so here I wanted a few different colors, and so I'm using purples for this one and blues, and again, this is the bottom layer, and you just kind of blend these all together. You smudge them together, and just use one of the acrylic brushes in Infinite Painter. Usually I like the Filbert brush, and just kind of smear it together. And here I've added some pinks and kind of smeared them together at the top, smudged them, and I'm adding sort of a grayish blue here, and I just want all different colors. You can just use one solid color if you want to, if you prefer that, and but I just think it's more fun to add different colors. And some of the kits that you can buy have different colors underneath all the black layers. And so here I'm just smudging that together, and then I've made the second layer again, and then I'm going back to the eraser tool and putting it on one of the pen and ink type of tools. And that's what's neat in Infinite Painter, is that you can use the different drawing implements when you use the eraser. So it gives it a kind of a pen and ink sketchy look. But I'm just using the eraser for this. And so here I'm doing some more of Monument Valley, but I wanted it to be nighttime instead of a sunset looking color, so that's why I chose the cool blues and purples and things like that. And so I'm just kind of sketching it out again, giving it a really rough pen and ink type of a look, and just kind of using the depth perspective of making the formations in the back smaller, and then bringing everything forward, and it will be larger in the front, and that gives you your perspective for the look of Monument Valley. And so here I'm working on one of the formations, and these are called the mittens because they have a little thing sticking out on the edge there, and it looks like mittens. So these are actually called the mittens. And then here I'm just working a little bit more on the rock formations in the front, but I'm leaving a lot of the black there just to give it kind of a depth look there. I don't want to add too many details, because then you lose your depth in the picture. And then I'm adding a few clouds into the sky here, and it looks kind of blue because I put my blues on the top, so that gives it kind of a cloud at nighttime look. And then here I wanted to add the moon, so I'm just adding a circle using one of the guide tools in Infinite Painter to make a circle, and then just kind of making a scratchy surface for the moon, and leaving a little bit of some blank spots in the moon inside there, so that it looks like the craters on the moon and gives it some texture. So this is the end of part 1 for making Scratchboard art. And in part 2, I'll just do another couple of pictures to show you what else you can do. And it's just kind of fun to fool around with this, and makes a really neat effect. So hit the subscribe button, and thank you so much for watching and all your support. And if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments down below, and I will catch you later.